What if I told you that the entire Targaryen dynasty, every king, every queen, every dragon rider, from Jaehaerys to Daenerys, descends from no one? That Aegon the Conqueror, the man who united the Seven Kingdoms, died without a single biological heir. I know, that sounds far-fetched, but the clues are all there. And the strangest part? One of the main clues doesn't even come from A Song of Ice and Fire, but from George's Sci-Fi work. If you're a fan of Game of Thrones, please consider liking and subscribing for more similar content. But back to it. Part 1. Maegor the Cruel. On the surface, he seems like Aegon's son. He's a warrior, he's ruthless. But when you look closer, the cracks appear. First, Maegor was completely sterile. Despite having 6 wives and obsessively trying to produce an heir, he never had a single child. His wives had stillbirths, monstrosities, and twisted things that barely looked human. The maesters whispered about abominations. So why couldn't Maegor produce even one viable heir? Because Maegor wasn't actually born, he was made. Here's what we know about Maegor's mother, Visenya Targaryen. She was a warrior. She wielded Dark's sister. She founded the Kingsguard. She was fierce, practical, and ruthless. And according to the histories, she was deeply interested in magic and the dark arts. But here's what's strange. We never actually see her do any magic. Not once. Think about it. George tells us clearly that Visenya studied sorcery, but there's no confirmed instance of her casting a spell. For a character whose defining traits are being a warrior and a pragmatist, why would George randomly add, "Oh, and she's also into dark magic," if it never pays off? George doesn't do window dressing. Every detail matters, especially something this specific. So what did Visenya do with her knowledge of the dark arts? She created Maegor. Now here's where George's other work comes in. George wrote a novella called Night Flyers, which I really recommend. In it, there's a character named Royd. Royd is the captain of a ship, and he's odd. He's isolated, he's strange, and here's the kicker. Royd is sterile. He can't reproduce. And this is because of how he's made. He is a clone. He's a male clone created by his mother through advanced genetic technology. She created him from herself. So an odd, isolated, strange man who can't reproduce. Doesn't that sound familiar? George had already written a story about a powerful woman creating a male version of herself who cannot have children. And then years later he writes about Visenya, a woman obsessed with dark magic, who has a son that looks nothing like his supposed father and cannot produce heirs. Maegor is Visenya's clone, created through blood magic. That's why he's sterile, just like Royd. Part 2. Aenys Targaryen. So Maegor isn't Aegon's, but what about Aenys? Here's where things get uncomfortable, because Aenys is nothing like Aegon the Conqueror. Aegon was a warrior king, strong, decisive, commanding. Aenys was weak, indecisive, physically frail. The realm fell apart under his rule. He couldn't control his lords. He couldn't even control his own family. He was so unlike Aegon that many in the realm openly questioned whether he was truly the Conqueror's son. And they might have been right. Rhaenys was known for her beauty, her charm, her friendships. She was beloved, playful, and spent her time traveling the realm with many admirers and spending a lot of time with singers. The maesters noted that Aenys was sickly from birth, so weak they feared he wouldn't survive. That's not the child of Aegon Targaryen. And while there's no explicit evidence of infidelity, the question hangs there. How did Aegon, the warrior who conquered Westeros, produce a son so utterly weak? Maybe he didn't. We know George doesn't waste words. He doesn't give Visenya an interest in dark arts for no reason. He doesn't write about a sterile male clone and then create a sterile Targaryen for no reason. He doesn't make Aenys so fundamentally different from Aegon without reason. The clues are all there, hidden across George's entire body of work. Aegon the Conqueror had no true heirs. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Am I wearing a tinfoil hat here? Is this what happens 10 years without the Winds of Winter? But thank you for watching.